The chair recognizes the honourable member for St. George's Humber.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's an honour today to rise and to speak on this bill and to add a few words. A lot have been said about this bill, so I won't take my full time, most likely. But I wanted to say a few words just to add my support and some points to this debate, Mr. Speaker. It's an important step here that's being taken to improve public safety and to reduce impaired driving. These changes will strengthen the impaired driving laws, impose tougher penalties on those who are impaired, and it will better prepare our young people to be safe and conscientious drivers, Mr. Speaker. So specifically the changes that we're talking about, people have talked about them and the importance of them, but I just review them quickly. Impounding vehicles, Mr. Speaker, as others have mentioned, one of the problems is that people were in the past being caught 2 or 3 times for impaired driving in the same day. They would go back and get their vehicle, which was still by the side of the road. So this legislation will result in the impounding of vehicles and will make that not happen, Mr. Speaker. So that's an important step in and of itself. The mandatory ignition interlock program, Mr. Speaker, which takes place after someone has served their time without a license, Mr. Speaker, and this is another measure to protect people from repeat offenders, people who, despite having lost their license, maybe would attempt to drink and drive again. So that's an important measure as well that's happening here, Mr. Speaker. And there's another measure here: drivers under 22 years of age have to maintain a 0% blood alcohol content level, and that's a way of people who are becoming new drivers. They're maybe experimenting with drinking as well. It sends a message to those drivers in the early stages of their driving how important it is not to drink and drive, and I think that's an important measure as well. And other people have mentioned that they're fathers of children who are entering the years where they're driving, and I am as well. My daughter is 15 now, so in the next few years she'll be looking at getting her driver's license, and I certainly support this measure in terms of the impact that it will have on her. These changes that are taking place, many have mentioned that, in this province, our regulations and our laws related to impaired driving haven't been as strict as those in other provinces in the past. And what's happening here now is we're going from amongst the least strict laws in terms of impaired driving to some of the most strict laws in terms of impaired driving. And that's very important in terms of the way we operate as a province. And I think a number of people have mentioned that we're looking at laws, changing the laws, and putting more restrictions on people who drink and drive. And what we really, I think, have to move towards, and this is happening as well in society, it's about changing society's views, changing the way we think about drinking and driving, changing the way we think about impaired driving and impaired drivers. And that's happening very slowly, I think, in society. But it's happening because of groups like MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. And it's a very important thing to be happening in our society. And it's because of the groups like MAD. And the district that I represent, the Bay St. George area and Corner Brook as well, have very active MAD chapters. And they've been doing a lot of things, like they have their Strides Walk, their Red Ribbon campaigns. They have a Christmas campaign. They have information booths and tables set up at community events. And they have their candlelight vigils, which continues to send a message to people that drinking and driving is no longer acceptable in society, and I think that's what has to happen. And I want to compliment groups like MAD and others as well for the work they're doing in this regard, Mr. Speaker. It's through their work and dedication to the cause that this change is happening. And I guess if anyone wants to look at, take dispute with the fact that that a small group of people can't change a society, can't change the laws in society, they need to look at the example of what MAD has done in this regard. They've changed societal views, they've met with our caucus and impressed upon us the importance of the changes that they wanted, and now here we are in the House debating this legislation that they lobbied us to have brought forward. And it's been a short period of time, but I'm very happy that these new laws are being brought in, being debated here. I want to compliment the previous Minister of Service NL and the current Minister as well for the work they've done, and the officials in the department for bringing this legislation forward in such a timely manner, and the work they've done on making this happen. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.